All I want for Christmas is for rich celebrities to stop giving marriage advice, especially really bad advice, normalizing really weird shit. Now, the advice George Clooney gives. Also, we found out some more about Travis Kelce's relationship with Taylow, which makes me think everything I've ever thought is all the more true. More of that is like, there's like two extremes that I keep seeing with these celebrities. On the one hand, we have George Clooney, who's like, we have never had an argument, ever. Ever. They have twins. They've been married a while. Never, ever had an argument? What the fuck is wrong with you? That doesn't sound healthy. Now, his reasoning for it sounds like a good reasoning, but I don't think this man is explaining it well. Or if it's true, y'all got problems. And this guy apparently has also never had an argument. Now, this is not nearly as bad as the other extreme. This couple who fight so much, they black out, don't remember what happened, according to her, and don't speak for 3 days. Like, anyway, I'm going to compare these now. For anyone who didn't hear already, she was fighting for her life in the comments of my Instagram post about my song, I Hate My Wife. That's the name of it. I'm literally just singing about the things that she told us he said. Wow, on the eve of Thanksgiving, she commented 6 times on that video, paragraphs. He's more of a feminist than me. You don't know anything about a relationship. Yeah, I don't want to know. Anyway, let me know if you want a video on that. I'm happy to share that story because holy crap, what a moment. I am so proud of myself for how I handled that and did not cower in the face of beefing with a Disney princess who tried to shame me, being a bully for talking about a relationship that they will not shut the fuck up about. Anyway, let me know if you want me to go over that. I got all the screenshots, or you can go take a look yourself. You will never convince me these two have a healthy relationship. Because what I'm seeing here is either A, she's always been MAGA or has turned MAGA. And given what she's been doing lately, I'm starting to think she's always been MAGA. Well, not MAGA, but a conservative in the way, a conservative in the making. Because this is what white women do all the time. To be like, all liberal, all feminist, blah. And as soon as they get married, abandon all of that to, get what marriage and children to, especially to white men, but that gets you all of the accolades, all the whatever. You're staying in line. You're following the rules. You're doing what you've been told you better do. Okay. So either that or she is kind of feminist. She's definitely doing racist stuff. Okay, there's no denying that. I've already talked about that in other videos. Or she is literally never challenging this man who seems to be either MAGA or MAGA adjacent, given that, or just a fucking coward because he was like excited, or forget the exact verb or adjective he used about coming to the, like no spine whatsoever. He's like, oh man, I can't wait to do it. Either these two either don't argue because they are in a PR relationship, which is very likely, because her brand needs a husband at this point. She can have that cat and everything for a while, but at a certain point, she better be popping out kids and get that husband. She doesn't want to be deemed a, loser. She also makes money off of pretending to be a loser in this really weird, even though she's like skinny, blonde, white lady who comes from wealth. Anyway. Now, if these two are not fighting, it's either A, because she bites her tongue all the time and doesn't challenge this man, because I am so sorry, but if you marry a man and you're in a heterosexual relationship and you are a cishet woman and you marry a cishet man, patriarchy is going to pop up all over your relationship like that thing, whatever that hedgehog, whatever that thing you bop. Either you eat a little bit more shit every single day until you resent the fuck out of this man, or you challenge that selfishness and entitlement and learned helplessness and laziness that men will lean into whether they know they're doing it or not now that they're with you. And even the most progressive man still has to be called on his crap. If you are not willing to do that, don't get married or you will hate yourself, because the more you self-abandon and the more you bite your tongue in order to keep the peace, the more you're going to hate yourself and you won't even know who you are once you get out of that relationship. So either she is literally never challenging this man or calling it. I don't even know how much time they spend together, honestly. They also have so much money. They're definitely not arguing about a lot of the things that normal couples argue about, which is money. Although she's got way more. They probably, even rich people probably argue about money. But in terms of like survival, they don't need to argue about money for that. Either she is never, ever being true to herself, and there's no way they agree on everything. Arguing. I also recognize there is some nuance to this, okay? Being like fighting, like, ah! And having a disagreement, like these words mean different things to different people. But if you are not really mad at your partner, like not somewhat regularly, but like sometime, you are lying to yourself. If you are a woman under patriarchy, you are lying to yourself if you're not mad at that man, because that entitlement's going to come out. And if men are oftentimes get mad about stuff that's not based in a sense of justice, it's based in a sense of entitlement. And so a lot of times they'll just go cheat, or they'll just like be passive and just avoid it or whatever. Or, they'll get abusive and smack the shit out of you. But like, if anger is never popping up from anyone in your relationship and you are not, no humans are supposed to agree on everything. No, none of us. None of us. God, I hate this. So, you shouldn't be fighting all the time, or it shouldn't escalate to like Kristen and Dax type stuff. That is not healthy. That is like, what the hell why are y'all married, right? But absence of conflict is not peace. It's avoidance, and that builds resentment. And somebody is self-abandoning. At least one, if not both of you. Chances are it's the woman, because of how we've been socialized. I am also purposely keeping this bucket hat photo up because he looks like such a tool, and this is my favorite photos. The series from what was this, like Wimbledon or something, are my favorite photos I've ever seen of this couple, because he is such a tool. The other theory that I have is that they never argue because this man is patient. And like a lot of hobosexuals, and you do not have to be broke to be a hobosexual. Hobosexuals are men who, doesn't mean they don't work, doesn't mean they can't work, doesn't mean they don't have a hard work ethic. But hobosexuals, when they get in proximity to a woman who it works hard and is willing to do anything, and especially if she's a pick-me, they are set. Look at my comments on hobosexuals sometimes. There's always a few stories, if not many, of women who married a hardworking man with a good job, and as soon as they got married, he decided he didn't like that job and he quit. And then he spent 10 years on unemployment trying to find his new job. Like so many men, even who earn money, have have degrees, who, there are wealthy hobosexuals. All men are on the hobo spectrum. I'm sorry. But they all are trying to exploit women for our labor, even if they don't date women. This is literally our social conditioning, and our conditioning is give, anything, take care of everybody, self-abandon. Also, Andy, I'm wearing the sweater. My Patreon person, Andy, has the same sweater. I thank you every time I wear it. But my guess is if they're never arguing either, or they both could be doing this. She may be like, oh my God, I don't, self-abandon, pick me, blah. And he may be not arguing because he's waiting patiently for his payout. You'll never convince me that this man isn't MAGA or MAGA adjacent, or gonna be super MAGA later. You gotta fight for your right to party. That was I didn't really have an opinion on this man till then. I didn't really care. I hated his whole breeder comment. Wasn't a fan of that. Trying to find a breeder. Okay. I had no opinion. After this, I was like, what a fucking loser. You are such a frat boy. Are you drinking when you graduate, on stage, chugging beers, singing all this, wearing these glasses? Not even ironically, I don't even think. Look, I'm from the South, and I have family who are into NASCAR and all that stuff. They authentically wear this stuff. I believe that if they've never argued, it's because he has not quite hit his whole goal in life is to be an athlete / celebrity on par with The Rock. That's what his managers have always planned for him. And boy, these managers are great. If you're looking for a manager, that seems like these are the ones. You know, I decided to bring Mose in. I forget. I have an adorable dog behind me that y'all might want to see while covering this. So a little bit more on Travis before I get back to what was said in that interview, and then compare it to the alternative. Like Travis Kelce exemplifies a whole new type of man. He's not a himbo. He's worse than a who me guy. Like, I feel like other than maybe Swifties, and MAGA, I don't know if a lot of people are crazy about this couple. Although they seem to think that we're crazy about them. Now remember, this is the guy, when his mom told him, wait till you find the right person to have kids. He says, I'm going to find a breeder and I'm going to get kids out so mom can love me again. It was a joke. But men's jokes are never really jokes a lot of times. And, you know, a lot like Scott Galloway, you know, the thing I do like about Scott Galloway, and there's one thing, he is saying out loud what I think a lot of men actually think. That man is obsessed with breeding. His three things, I swear I'm not going to go off on it. Scott, I actually have new info on that man. It makes me hate him more. But that's a different video. Provide, protect, which they don't do either of those. And procreate. Not parent. That would have been an easy P. But procreate. Breed. Mate. He's literally always using like mate. Procreate. It literally is not talking about parenting. He's literally talking about give these men a family and a wife so they don't shoot up supermarkets. That's it. That's will fix their mental health. Anyway, and so, you know, like this whole breeder comment, after like seeing how much Scott Galloway talks about it, and I'm like, wait, is he saying what all men are thinking? They don't actually want a wife, they want a breeder. They want a schmashwalker, they want a domestic free laborer, and they want a breeder to give them those kids. They're gonna give them social capital and a legacy, but they don't want to do anything. And Travis seems to have popped the question a lot because Ed kept pressuring him. Come on now. When are you? I add the now because I'm Southern and we all. Come on now. When are you gonna get this done? Get her done. Can you imagine your proposal story being written about in People magazine, and you're one of the most famous women in the world, and your engagement is all over every magazine, and then your future father-in-law is like, "Hey, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about my future daughter-in-law. Yeah, her dad told Travis to get her done." I kind of like this Ed guy. He cannot keep his mouth shut. He is not media trained well. Another thing about Travis is that he loves to have really problematic people on his, he had Brad Pitt on his the amount of star power this man has, literally just for being with Taylow. Now, I know he's been a football player for a while, but no one outside of the U.S. gives a about American football. Nobody knew that man's name until he started dating Taylow. And now everybody seems to know, I'm not a Swiftie. I don't care about this woman. It's all I see. And so his little podcast got real popular. And now he has, before he had like, whatever. Now he has got the biggest stars on earth. He just got Clooney. He's had, you know, and Brad been on there and, you know, got to talk about that silly divorce, you know, that divorce that was controlling his life. The audacity. Now that's from a source. That's not what he said in the podcast. Brad loved, you know, her, and he made some mistakes, and he doesn't understand why his children won't talk to him. But, you know, he goes on this podcast because the more they interview men who are known for DV and who've moved on or living with, you know, what's her butt. And, you know, they moved in together and, you know, and she helped him through the death of his mom and all that crap. The more they platform these men and normalize it, the more we forget. We forget that they're still in the middle of this. This man had Leo on. My understanding is that Leo has never been on a podcast. You mean to tell me this nobody football player who became famous and then launched into world fame because of who he dated gets Leo on his podcast? The first podcast ever he goes on is New Heights. but it's the cool place to go. They all want to be on it. So if I was Travis, I'd keep my mouth shut too. If my plan was to build and I also clearly have a preference. I have not dated anybody like Taylor Swift since I've been famous. Had a whole dating show, Catching Kelce. I have heard that thing is so gross, the way this man talks. But I mean, you will never convince me that he is into blonde chicks like truly attracted to. But it's a great business move. It's a great way to appease your family, to appease your fans, definitely to appease MAGA. But if I was getting married because I'm a hobo, you better believe I'd never argue with her. Oh, I'd be on my best behavior. But at a certain point, this man will not need her at all. Or the thing is, when you tie your brand to a man, which is what she's doing and has been doing, just like Kristen Bell did, even though both these women are massively successful. I was going to say talent, not saying talent, I mean, whatever. Massively successful. Kristen is super talented. Some people, many people, lots of people actually, believe Taylor's super talented. I may not be of that opinion, but that doesn't matter. She is a great businesswoman, or a ruthless one, with a great team. And she does seem to work really freaking hard. Neither one of those women need a husband folded into their brand. Like, they get social capital by being with a man, even though it is embarrassing to have a boyfriend. We know that. And it's becoming embarrassing to have a husband. We're not quite there yet. But both of these women now, they have the thing. They have, they'll probably have kids soon, Taylor and what's his butt. And when you tie yourself and your whole brand to a man, that man can hold it over your head. That he could probably get, once that ring is on and he's gotten everything he needs from her in terms of fame. He has set himself up for fortune. Even if they sign a prenup, this man is set. The trajectory of his career is unstoppable now because he's had Leo, Brad, George, and every freaking star out there on his dumb podcast. This man can do anything now. And he could easily kind of go out and do whatever he wants, because if he cheats on her, if he leaves her, that will not ruin her brand, but it will massively, stall it. She will be humiliated. Now, because she's Taylor, she probably would turn that into a big album, but this would be devastating momentarily, but devastating to her. That's why I believe Kristen will probably never leave that man. She is so tied into him and her brand that the fallout of a divorce would impact her so much. I'm just saying financially and reputation-wise that, she's sold us her marriage for so long, she has to make it work. The truth is, she could leave that man and be fine. But what women do, what we tell ourselves, is that once we're like, this is our thing, and we've been selling this thing, the humiliation of admitting that it wasn't that great, and you've been lying to yourself and everybody else about how great it is, that is really hard to do. And I did that on a micro level with like a couple thousand friends on Facebook. I was so afraid to make that post being like, actually, I'm in an abusive relationship. I left him. I was so, I did it, but that's why I didn't want to go public with our relationship, because I didn't want to be a couple. My work has always been about me and my work, and people wanted me so bad to be dating somebody. And this man knew it. That's why he, said he was in a relationship with Melanie Hamlin without even talking to me about it. And then I was like too afraid to hurt his ego or, embarrass him. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And now that made it so hard to get out. So I'm telling you, please, I'm going to repeat this message over and over. It's not you can't post photos. It doesn't mean you can't talk about your relationship, but do not make it a big part of who you are. And especially if you do anything publicly, make sure that you are known just as much as a person who stands alone in her power, more if not as much as you were ever with this person. You know what I mean? This is what I try to do on my page. If you want me to talk about my husband, I'm not going to do it. Every once in a while, it may come into a story, but I am not ever making any man my brand. God, and I hate that these women have chosen to do that. It's not pick me. Now this guy is set. But also, she'll be fine. She'll be fine too. My point here is that men will use you. And if this man never disagrees with you, there's something weird. And it's not because of what George Clooney is like, because he just like admires his wife so much. I mean, that old man should be lucky. I think that's why he doesn't fight with her. He's like, damn, I am lucky I have this bitch. My old ass, what am I doing with her? Like, what do I do to, like, but I still don't think that's healthy, honestly. Like, I don't want someone who's going to agree with everything I say. And yet I also believe that because women have been conditioned to, like question ourselves, which I don't think is a bad thing, but we do it so much. And men are so confident in their BS. They're so confident when they know nothing. God, that they say the confidence of a mediocre white man, okay? Like, so if a woman, does have an issue with something and sees something going on, like, men should probably listen. Because we probably have our finger on the pulse of things a little bit more. We are the ken keepers after all. But I believe that this man is literally like playing the long game. This was the most brilliant career move of his life. And if he leaves her, or whatever, they don't work out, he'll be fine too. Do you know how many pick-me's would take this man for a second? Like in a heartbeat or whatever? Look at him, he's like, Mitch, I don't want to be part of this. Somebody said, by the way, and they're like, I think your dog's upset being in the room with you being so bad. I promise you, if this dog was anywhere but here, you would see upset. He falls asleep listening to me scream on this app. Right? Like that's his comfort background noise. So don't worry. Don't worry. What would not be okay is if he's on the other side of that door and can't be next to me. That's when there's a problem. I deal with comments like that all the time about the craziest stuff, y'all. But also, I'm starting to really think that Taylow is, either A, she's completely self-abandoned any of the things she promised in Americana. That whole Netflix thingy. That was honestly my first exposure to her. I was like, oh, look, standing up to daddy. Well, it sounds like it's about time, but good for you. Okay, you're going to be more vocal. Great. And then, except for, like an endorsement for Kamala at the last minute, but everything else, nothing. And now with, all of these stars, he also sued her. Like now people are kind of like, does she not argue with Travis because she actually believes is she MAGA too? We know that she has been problematic in a lot of ways. And also, well, like didn't she sue or she went after the guy who was tracking her jet usage? And if you're a Swiftie, you're allowed to disagree with me, but if you are unhinged and rude on my page, I'm going to delete your comments because some Swifties are so white women who are Swifties are so violent on my page when I criticize her. That's okay. You don't have to agree with me, but if you attack me, I'm deleting your comment because I'm not dealing with that. But when The Guardian is like, she seems MAGA. All these other people are condemning ICE for using their songs. And the notoriously litigious Taylor Swift has said nothing and not sued or not done anything. I don't know if sue is the right word. But, isn't making statements like this. This video is evil and disgusting. Do not involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. Like, I want to see this energy from any people that ICE is using. This energy, calling out the racist, hateful propaganda. But, so this leads me to think that he is using her for her money and she either believes in this MAGA stuff or, and it is full on, Republican or is like or is like whatever, kind of feminist or whatever, and doesn't want to piss off her boyfriend. Like, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you saying anything? I'd be so pissed if they use my image, my voice, my dumb songs, literally anything of mine. The first thing I would do is I don't even have a team of people. I don't have any lawyers. I got no power against them. And the first thing I do, statement. I don't agree with this. What? Why is she saying nothing? Why? Either she fully believes it and supports it, or she's a pick-me who doesn't argue, or she just, wants that money so bad. And this woman who once wanted to be on the right side of history is saying nothing. That's weird. And like they said, she is known to be litigious over unsanctioned use of her music or likeness, including previously suing a theme park for playing her music without a license, for Etsy sellers. Oh, come on. Can you imagine going after artists on Etsy? How petty and greedy do you have to be for using lyrics on their unofficial merch, taking on YouTube creators over copyright infringement, and demanded retroactive songwriting credits from newer artists, including Rodrigo. So after a whole documentary where I felt bad for her for a hot minute, I even wrote about it for Harper because I was like, I don't know anything about her. But, I wrote about being nice, the whole nice thing and how that'll get you in trouble. That is your own demise when you try to be nice. You ain't gonna win. Which is actually exactly the same thing Kristen Bell was doing to me in my comments, by the way. This isn't nice. Well, neither is promoting domestic violence with jokes. I said that. She has a forthcoming Disney-produced docuseries about the tour, and she has a lot to lose. She is commercially more popular than ever, which I don't even believe that. When she's got, I did a video on this a month or so ago when those Fox News type dudes were like, we love her. Basically we're like, she's one of us, more or less. And then Trump went from making fun of her and hating her to saying she's a terrific person. If there is literally no one I can think of on the planet that I would be more upset by saying that they think I'm a terrific person. If that man ever said something good about me, I would be very scared because that means I am not moving through the world the way I thought I was. I am definitely giving off something that is the opposite of what I believe. So that would be such an insult. Nothing. And as they said in this article, I'm going to get back to the Clooney thing in a minute and the Dax and Kristen thing. The president may also, this was so funny, y'all. The president may also see himself in Swift, a staunch businesswoman who releases multiple editions of her album to generate extra revenue and secure high chart positions, seemingly timed to prevent other artists from reaching number one. That's absolutely what she's been doing for a while. We know her game. If that's the case, this money-grubbing, competition-destroying approach to prop stardom is paralleled to Trump's profit-driven mindset. And her self-interest even perhaps as a parallel with his protectionist economic policy. If I read that people were like, well, Melanie is actually a lot like Trump. This is literally would be the biggest regret of my life, I think. What is wrong with her? Unless she is flattered by this or wants that money so bad or doesn't want to piss off or, argue with her boyfriend who could absolutely be MAGA or Republican. There's no reason to be silent. There's no reason to be silent about any of the stuff she's been silent on. But this is literally her whole brand. And she's like, it doesn't help that her boyfriend looks just like someone who stormed the Capitol. Let's get back to what actually was said on the show. And Travis is all like, I'm taking notes, man. When Clooney insisted, now his wife is 47, he is 64. I just turned 48. I cannot imagine having a 64-year-old husband. Blech! So I get why maybe he worships her. And he's just like, you're the boss. But honestly, that sounds boring. What a man who literally agrees with me on everything because he's too tired to argue. I'm not always right. Anyway, whatever. So when he put the question back on Travis, well, it's only been 2.5 years and you're right. I haven't gotten in an argument. Never once. And when Jason was like, that's a smart man. What's the secret? Just staying out of argument altogether? Do y'all know what it's like to be with men who are this passive and avoidant? That they never argue. It's good if they don't argue a lot because they understand all of the things that come with patriarchy and their entitlement that a lot of times they probably are wrong. But just avoid conflict altogether. What? happy wife, happy life. Yeah, but if you're lying and avoiding all conflict, you're a fucking coward. Wait, hold on. I forgot this part. Hold on. Before all this, he said, honestly, neither of us is going to win the argument, so why get in it? What? This just sounds like laziness. Like, I get it. Fighting about dumb shit is like, I get that. Also, I get that he's 64. I'm 64. I'm a 64-year-old. What am I going to argue about at this point? I met this incredible woman who's beautiful and smart and stands for all the important things I believe in. I can't believe how lucky I am. So what am I going to fight about? Now, this is coming from a 64-year-old man who didn't get married until his 50s. Like, said for a long time he had no interest in getting married or having kids. And then, interesting. None of these men want to die alone, okay? They're not worried about us dying alone. They always talk about it. They don't want to die alone. We all have our golden girls. I keep this. This was always my dream. May still happen. Never know. Women are fine, but men don't want to die alone. So in his 50s, he was like, damn, maybe I should actually date. Because and why not date someone, 15 years younger? I'm not going to do the math. A lot younger. And have kids so that I've got at least 3 people who will feel obligated to take care of me when I get sick and I'm about to die. Right? Not to mention he could pay for help or what. But Travis isn't 64. Why are you taking advice from a man who didn't married until his 50s? And is basically just saying, well, I'm too old. I'm too tired to fight. Damn, that's a good one, Travis chimed in. Jason claimed he would be stealing that one. Jason claimed he was going to be stealing that one. I swear, men are so unoriginal. Anybody who's... I haven't been on Tinder in a while, but I remember realizing how not creative and how lazy they are. If I read their height in heels one more freaking time, all of them were 6'1" in heels as a way to make fun of us, because they can't make a joke unless they're making fun of us. Every guy had that joke. I was like, are y'all looking at men's profile or are you all this unoriginal? You're so predictable. They just take... Is everything performing and repeating for some of y'all? I swear to God. You can use that one if you want. Travis is like, I'm just taking notes, man. But I'm sorry. This 64-year-old, look who he is with. It's like this international human rights law. I forget what the title is. Somebody tell me. Did you make it this far, by the way? Just to see who, you don't have to do this, but type shiny pink dress, or something like that. I never know how long you're making it. I know these are long. Shiny pink dress. Anyway, I hate that. And all men think that they're George Clooney. They think that they're going to be marry as like he did. They think they are just going to wait until their 50s, be like, yeah, maybe I do want kids and marriage. Okay. I just forked off on Tinder or whatever. All those years, one night stands, partying, whatever. But now that I'm a big boy at the ripe age of 55, maybe I should get married. So you've got the whole we don't fight. Yeah, that's how I make it work. What's the point of fighting? Camp, which again, you should actually really like each other. You should really respect each other. You should both admire each other. Ideally, the person that you partner with has something that you really cherish, admire, or also kind of want to. Not in the way of I'm going to be what you are. You should be learning from each other and helping each other grow. And I'm sorry, but if I wanted a dog, I would get a dog who just sits there and is cute, and is obsessed with me. Doesn't argue with me. This is so lazy. Again, but contrast that to the other extreme advice we're getting from the most relatable couple in Hollywood. Just a refresher, because I've talked extensively about these people. At this particular fight where they didn't talk for 3 days after, and it escalated to the point where It's a pretty incredible fight. Like top of the lungs screaming. I don't ever want to be fighting that way with anybody, especially not in my home. And definitely if I had children in the home, but this seems to be a not big deal. And what was it about? It was about the things around the house that I felt I needed help with. Bang, bang, bang. That is another indicator this man doesn't do jack. And he helps around the house, even though these people are loaded. They could pay all these people to help them. But Dax did not want to fold towels. In their relationship, she's supposed to be able to say, I need your help with this. Not I need an equal partner who doesn't feel entitled to a maid who just like helps out everyone, Anyway, she even says, and this is what's so funny, she got all mad that I'm criticizing their marriage. And she puts this out there all the time and even says, like, he's not here, he can't defend himself. Why are you telling we're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to criticize this. Anyway, so she left a note for him listing a few chores that needed to be done around the house. Because again, she also is tasked with making the list. Another red flag. Why are you making a list? Shouldn't he know what needs to be done? But okay. I left a note and it was like, hey, Dad! Exclamation mark. Hey, Dad, would you mind taking the 2 towels in the dryer and folding them? And then there was like one other thing. That's only 10 minutes of work. I can say that. I don't know. That sounds like 2 minutes of work. Maybe I should talk to Kristen this way. At that point, the housework was getting to be a lot for me. The keeping up with the mom stuff. Not parent stuff, mom stuff, the shoes being outgrown, all that. So I left this little note, and then I came home on Sunday, and everything was fine. No arguments, no yelling. And then Monday night, we're laying in bed, and he goes, when you leave me notes, yeah, I feel really controlled. And then he launched into how he felt about it. Somehow, we both blacked out into a fight. I didn't actually remember what happened, but what transpired was a lot of volume, a lot of harsh words being thrown around, and it was an angry fight about how nobody else does anything for anybody else. I can't do that anymore. Actually, I can. I grabbed my pillow and I stomped down the hall and slept in the front room and I'm crying. We didn't talk for 3 days. 3 days. They didn't talk for 3 days. My guess is silent treatment. Men love doing that. And actually, I forgot to do this part because this is actually important. I'm not going to use the puppets here. Instead of lashing out, Belle paused a beat and tried to respond as calmly as possible. She gotta make sure the man doesn't get triggered. I said, okay, I totally hear you. It will never happen again. I will never ever write a note to you again because that's controlling. Kind of like Jonah, what's his butt? Made his girlfriend wear the same outfits as him, his boundaries, whatever. Did a video on it. If I need something to be done around the house, what is a way I can do it that you'd be okay with hearing? It wasn't about the no. Escalated because he was just like, bitch, don't ask me. That's what it sounds like. Because she literally was like, okay, I won't leave a note, but when I need your help, how do I phrase that in a way that won't make you angry? And then it escalated to them yelling and screaming, and they blacked out and didn't talk for 3 days. Tell me how this couple tells us stories like this often, and we're supposed to be like, wow, the most relatable couple. Couples goals. Hashtag. She didn't even get an apology. She got a dog. The only reason this man talked to her, she took her daughters to a dog cafe to meet a rescue dog, Frank. And she video chatted with Dax to see if they could get the dog. And he let her adopt the dog, even though he is like allergic to them. It's like, what? Also smokes in front of him, even though he's an addict. I do not understand how anything about this relationship is healthy at all. Anyway, she didn't get an apology, but he let her have a dog. So this guy also avoids hard conversation. He just defends himself and yells, and they fight, and then they separate, and they never actually talk about it, it seems. They literally never talked about this fight. But she says he just magically does all this stuff to help her. Okay. They also fight on his dumb podcast. A couple more things. He decided to share that episode where him and his wife got in a fight on his podcast. They got in a fight right before the podcast. Apparently the tension was palpable, so much that he wasn't sure if he should release the episode. And then he decided to release it because there was so much tension. I don't know about you, but I do not want my arguments with literally anybody on podcasts. I am shocked that their children's life is as private as it is. They don't put their face all over social media, given that they will not shut up about something that should be private. Your arguments! Like, what? Putting it out there, decide because it's so real and true. That's how we find our way back to each other. Blah. And they say it's the idealized couple goals that makes them want to show their not so perfect side. Believe me, I find the couple's goals crap really annoying. But this is worse. Something happened with Dax and I early on where we decided we were never going to not be asked about our relationship. Hello. Kristen, you have no boundaries. What do you mean you're never going to not be asked about it? We don't deserve this knowledge. You don't owe us this. No boundaries with our audience. So leans hard into, ask me anything. I'll tell you everything. And then when I make a silly song about what her husband says, then it's like, you don't know us. Why are you being mean? So if we're going to talk about it, let's make sure we show the good, the bad, and the ugly. And how we handle it. Now remember, she didn't even like this dude when she first met him. All she remembers, first of all, she'd just gotten out of a long-term relationship. She was only out of it for 2 months. Meets this loser. And the only thing she remembered about him is that he talked so much. She didn't even know him. She's like, is this that guy in like Jackass? No, punked, which is worse. All he remembers about her, allegedly, is that she told a story about going to Target. Fate brought them together again. Ran into each other at a hockey game. And the day after, I get a text from him that says, hi, my name is Dax. I violated your privacy and got your number from Shauna. How do you feel about that? That's the text. That's the first text. If this isn't, I'm going to test your boundaries right out of the gate and see how you react, I don't know what is. This is like... Hey, I just did something creepy. Went behind your back, got your number. You did not consent to hearing from me. Don't even know if you want to hear from me. I violated. How do you feel about that? And she's like, oh my God, that's stimulating. That sounds Anyway, all this to say that she constantly talks about how the 80s taught us that love at first sight, it's just supposed to be easy. And all you have to do is find your person. But it took me a while to realize, oh, that was such a lie because things that you work really, really, really hard for always yield the best. What? This is the whole like marriage is hard. Really, 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 really hard. And those are the best kind. So either if you want that or this, no fucking thank you. Because if y'all are fighting all the time, like The Notebook, shall I revisit that film? Where he thinks you're a pain in the ass and all you do is argue. Or this, where you never argue, never disagree, bite your tongue, keep the peace, because what's the point? It's not fun being uncomfortable. Like, please just stop talking. Stop talking. They keep wanting to tell us all their business about their relationship and talk to us like they are relationship therapists or something. Anyway, I actually want more for Christmas than for them to shut up. But I actually would really love for them to shut up. As I told Kristen, I doubt she even read my comments back to her, but she kept commenting. She kept talking to me. If you have 15 million followers, most of them women, and if your husband has a podcast with mostly women followers, which by the way, he told us, I'm sorry, you're doing a lot of damage. Nobody needs to know this about your relationship. And I don't want to take relationship advice from a billionaire dating a millionaire football dude. I don't want to take advice from a pick-me enabler with an addict, like loser guy, Dax. I don't want advice from George Clooney, an old man who, waited until he was practically on formula or whatever you call that stuff that old people drink, before he's like, okay, now I'm ready to settle down. Like, they think that, like, we want their advice. And some people do because they look up to celebrities, but, like, y'all don't have the same problems as us. Just because you're famous doesn't mean we admire how you live and need to hear about it against our will. Not against our will. A lot of people want to know. In this day and age, man, privacy, especially with the way these apps are, privacy is a good thing. I have learned that the hard way. Privacy is a good thing. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, share, join my Patreon if you can. That's where I have really exciting couple of lives coming up. I can't wait to announce them, but I can't yet because the dates aren't set. But I can't wait to announce them. Watch parties, hangouts, travel content, personal stories, all kinds of stuff over there. Thank you, Patreon people. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, boost, all that stuff. And let me know what you think. And voila. Little comment song about Leon, where I live. I took some photos the other day, walking around my old neighborhood. Leon comment song, Leon comment song. I love this random shit outside of a store, and I love the street art. Leon comment song, Leon comment song, Leon comment song. Look at this staircase, and paint all the stairs. This is it from far away. Leon comment song, me walking down the stairs. Leon comment song, so much beautiful stuff. Leon comment song is ending now. Join my Patreon for yourself or someone else for the holidays if you want to have fun over there. Hey, voila!